Disney just dropped Moana 2 last year, and I have a lot to say. From stunning ocean visuals to questionable choices made in the story, this story tries to recapture the magic. But did it actually succeed? As I explain the story of Moana 2 deeply, I'll be explaining what worked and what didn't, and why some moments in Moana 2 might leave some fans, well, disappointed. Let's talk about it. So, Moana 2 was directed by Dana Lados Miller, Jason Han, and David Direct Jr., released on November 27th last year, 2024, starring Dwayne Johnson and Ali Cravalho. As soon as I got this movie from my personal library, I had a chance to look at the main menu here. So, the last time I watched a movie, all of the movies I watched had only pictures for main menus. But this time, Moana 2, it's like animated and it's like lot more, like there's more motion in there than just pictures. So yeah, it's animated to have the character moving throughout the main menu itself. So I saw Moana, Maui, and Moana's pets, pig and the chicken. And there was at one point where the water flashing transitioned to Moana teaching her little sister, Samia, how to dance the hula dance. I thought that was very, very cute and adorable. Like, stop it. The water's flashing as part of the transition to another cliff. I thought that was very, very creative. It's very nice. And that's all I can say about the main menu. I like the details in it. It makes it seem more attractive for people to watch the movie, and makes it more Hawaiian-like, which I love and appreciate. And now, let's get to the beginning of the movie. So as it goes through the clips of how Disney do it normal, and then it goes to the title with which is Moana 2 across the screen in very nice font. And I like the fact that it glowed through the letters blue towards towards you. I like the lighting effects like that. It's very gorgeous. And the letters, they look like the ocean water. It has a unique aspect to it. And then as soon as and then a split second later, basically the camera goes through the words and towards the ocean, which makes absolutely total sense. Since the Moana 2 title was had the ocean water kind of inside of it, goes through, you'll see the ocean water itself. Very, very nice intro to the movie. Very creative. And then it trails above the right above the ocean water towards the island where Moana runs through the woods. It towards the island, and then it stops at one point to two little seashells, and there's a crab poking on one of them and trying to go into the other one. And then story begins when Moana goes runs across the beach and through the woods, and then she goes hops over a rock, and then like she hops over a cliff where like she stops and then she turns around. Moana, very gorgeous looking girl in the movie. Now she turns around to see her pet pig trying to go after her. She's like, come on, it's just a little leap. And then the next clip takes me to her climbing to the mountain with her pet pig, of course. As soon as she reaches the top, she finds the shell that she blows into to attract more people, right? Hang on, let me... Yeah. As soon as Moana reached the top of the mountain, she bumped into her pet rooster. Okay. She blows the horn, and then, the pig almost falls off the cliff. Moana tries to save her, and then the rooster got them all to fall down. Which I thought was funny, of course. And yeah, they fell to the ground like Moana gradually because there was like ropes attached to the trees. And Moana finds this pottery that was made by someone coming from that island. And then she's like, I found it, I found something. People are here, let's go home and tell the news. So Moana goes back home, and that's when all the singing starts. The people sing. Moana was singing to reunite with each other. There was clips of people dancing and building up the ceremonial tent to like begin the ceremony for Moana to become chief. And at one point, I heard Moana's mom's singing voice, and oh my god, was I so obsessed? Oh my god, so beautiful, by the way. I love all your singing voice, like especially Moana's mom's singing voice, like very beautiful. Okay, and then Moana goes and talks over her finding with her dad, of course, because her father's obviously still chief of the island. And then she goes and shows her sister the pot that she found and takes her to a cave where she sees a canoe for the first time. And they both spend time with each other, stuff like that. Moana talked about the history with her ancestors, you know. And now we go to Maui's perspective, okay. That part begins as Maui flying in the sky as a hawk, only to land on a separate island, besides a spear, purplish pinkish spear like portal that I think Maui and a witch that lives there wants it open too. Her name is Matangi. Don't go after me if I mispronounce her name. Yeah, he's like, Bat lady, come on out, wherever you are. I'm gonna have to fight you for this portal here. And then, Matangi basically kidnapped Maui and then holds him hostage in a room full of turtle shells. Okay. So basically he's surrounded by turtle shells, including the one above him, which he was hung out of by a rope where his hook is basically inside of that turtle shell. Okay. And he's looking down at these fishies here, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you go up and give a hook?" And they would, and then as they scrambled up, okay, and then here's the funny part. Okay, all of these turtle shells basically vomit on him. That is just straight up funny. And yeah, he is still on there for the time being. And then it goes back to nighttime. All of the whole tribe gather around to watch Moana go through her ceremony, right? Well, this is when the call to adventure starts. Alright? So, as soon as Moana was about, doing her speech, she was about to drink the coconut water, lightning flashed through the, ceremony hut kind of, and it hit Moana actually, and it knocked her out. It made her dream about going to Motufetu and touching it to save all the tribes connected by the ocean from separating. Because there's a god out there that I'm also mentioning in the storytelling. His name is Nalo, and he does not want the Hawaiian tribes to come together. He wants them separated. So that's why he sunk the island of Motufetu to try to separate everyone, or else everyone will be gone forever. Which is not a good thing. Yeah, she reappeared on her ship. A ship, was her ancestor, and a storm comes, and she got thrown underwater, and then she arrives on her island, only to see her people disappear, which is basically like a foreshadowing moment. So, yeah, Moana's ancestor, warns her, hey, go to Motufetu and get on that island so you can reunite people, alright? Then she's in the tent with her parents discussing about her situation. Oh, yeah, yep. I forgot to mention this. He tells her to follow the fire in the sky, which is like a blue comet, basically. And then it now takes to Moana being in the tent with her parents and a warrior that she brings later on. And then there was a commotion happening, and then she goes out and looks up at the sky, and then it was the same blue comet that was described in her dream. So it's not just a dream, you guys, it's a message. So, give you advice, if you remember your dreams, alright, it's not a dream, it's a message. Now we can keep going with the story. So, Moana goes and gathers out all the people around because her mom does not want her to go on her own like she did last time. Okay? And yes, Maui is still held hostage in the room full of vomiting shells at this point. And it was at one point where her sister wanted to go with her, and then Moana takes her sister Samia to go see the ocean for the first time, and she's like, hey, don't worry about it, it's her friend, and the ocean itself, it like breaks apart, and then she took her to like see what's inside of the ocean while they're still kind of like on shore basically. And as soon as they came back, Saimia takes her sea starfish from her foot that was clamped to like a foot bracelet, and then she hands it to she puts it in Moana's like necklace, like as a gift. She's like, please remember me as you go on my adventure. That's what that was saying. Okay. And then, so it's like the assembly where the people would dance and sing as Moana goes to her canoe, and her crew was on there too. So there's a farmer named Kili, a warrior who's very obsessed with Maui. Like, he idolizes Maui. Like, kind of had a crush on him, basically. And, Loto, aka, she's like a, builder, basically. She's an alchemist. Yeah, she takes all of them and goes out on an adventure, of course, including her pet pig and rooster. And then, so throughout the beginning, like, Moana, like, tries her best to lead the group, but she was challenged because apparently all of them are, like, clumsy, and Lotu kept trying to fix up the ship her own way instead of respecting Moana. And so Moana, a little bit flustered, she starts singing this song called Nothing Gets Better Than This. It was to keep them going, and she got the farmer, the warrior, and the alchemist distracted, and now they're all like dancing and singing until they bump into a island filled with coconuts. Right? They tried to avoid it at first because they thought they were a threat, and then they almost got swallowed by a giant clam. Okay? That part was, you know, kind of extremely intimidating in a way. Because as soon as they tried to stay away from the clam, they got tranquilized by the coconut people, and their canoe was like brought to them. And the coconuts communicated with them using coconuts that has different colors on it, and they created pictures. All of the coconuts, which I thought was a neat way for coconuts to communicate since they can't speak. So, nice thinking there, animators. And so they explained that in order to really get to Motufetu, they should knock out the giant clam, which, spoiler, causes them to struggle. Okay, how they struggled? So, as Moana and her crew were like accepting, they're like, how do we break free from our position? Because they were still tranquilized. They were still like basically blob at that point. They sent out a slime blob creature to like slide over them to like get them to be able to stand up and talk again, which I thought was funny because the rooster was making noise as it was happening. Okay. And then one coconut guy goes with them. Okay. And oh yeah, the blob spits out purple liquid because they asked how they would knock out the clam, and it was like a purple substance on a spear. So they took that with them, and the clam was open still at the time, and they so like they were nearly there. They were just right next to the spot where Moana should have quickly done it, but they were all distracted. So all of the water flying down, and they struggled a lot, and unfortunately all of the tranquilizers were they were losing the extras too. And then, oh yeah, that's how the coconut guy came with them. The coconut guy was like went into the clam and basically done it for them, but except they, while they were still inside, the clam shuts itself and they all fall down into the waterfall. Okay, Moana went to the left while the others went to the right, and the others went to the right. When the others went to the right, they crash landed over the top of the room where Maui was held hostage, right? And Moana was in the room with, at the same time with the witch Matangi. Matangi. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the crew. Okay, so the meeting was Maui. It was a little bit funny and awkward at the same time because Manaui, Manaui, that was his name. He was like obsessing over Maui as he was showing him pictures, stuff like that. And like, so Maui had a hard time trying to get to his hook so he could go on this adventure, right? Well, as Maui was about to leave, they're like, we're looking for Moana. And he's like looking down at his chest because his tattoos are actually moving. So the tattoo first is a Maui, points at a tattoo of Moana. He's like, oh no, where's Moana? And then the next scene, Moana, she was not at the portal yet, by the way, keep that in mind. But she's like, looks around like, where am I? And then Matangi appears, the witch, aka Bat Lady, according to Maui. So she basically told Moana, like, there's another way you could do this, alright? So that whole scene took of Matangi singing. Okay, who acted as Matangi? Cause she has a beautiful voice. I'm like, ooh, I'm upset. I like her voice too. Like, as she like takes Moana on like a adventure down to where the portal was actually. Okay. And Matangi has explained to Moana that in order to go to Motufetu, she has to defeat the god Nalo. And she's like, if you don't go to that mountain and defeat Nalo, you will never be able to see your family again. So, and I got her really good vibes from her too as she was singing. And she basically led Moana inside. Moana landed inside of the portal, same portal that Maui came before he got kidnapped. And as soon as Maui finds Moana, who's next to the inside the portal, Moana like stumps her paddle down and opened it basically. And as soon as Moana, Maui, Motunui, and Kelly and Loto go through that portal, it led them to the top of the it led them back up to the ocean floor. Okay. And suddenly they hear like this noise and a random serpent appears with like purple glowing spots all over it. I like the lighting effects on that too. Oh, Moani, that's how you pronounce this name. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. So Moani falls in the water because the serpent knocked him into the water, and Moani tries to swim towards back to the canoe. The serpent tracked him down, and Maui jumped in to save him. And yes, Moani is still alive at that point. And everyone arrives on a deserted bone island, and all of them were feeling hopeless. Like, Moana basically fought with Maui as he tried to reassure her that, hey, you know, there's no way you could do this. And then Moana goes and sits down on a tree log, and then Maui goes to consult with her. And that's when the next song starts. Maui sings his songs like, hang on, let me look it up real quick. Oh, can I get a Chiefhood? Okay. So that song was about Dwayne Johnson, of course, tried to like motivate Moana and helped her train to go through with trying to break the curse. Okay? And he was like singing that song and providing wisdom for Moana. And then helps her improve herself so she can complete her destiny. As soon as that song ended, by the time they came back, Moana's friends basically fixed the canoe. And then Maui explains his plan to lift up the island, because actually it's not above water, but it's actually under the ocean. It's sunk. And then Moana will be able to get on the island to reconnect the people with the sea. And there's a final scene where they had to face Nalo, who's basically a purple storm, like a huge storm with tornadoes and purple glow in the tornadoes and the storm itself. And so as they sail towards the island, Maui goes and flies to try to go underwater and lift up the island. Okay. Loto decided to like switch up the canoe like flag thing. Instead of like a straight down, it's like a basically a kayak, but on a canoe. And as Maui got struck by Nalo, basically the whole canoe was destroyed by the storm. And so Moana first decides to swim and gather up her crew to make sure they're doing okay, and then the water splashes Moana to go on a stick. When that happened, Moana accidentally trapped her baby sister's starfish, and it goes underwater. And Moana remembered her grandmother earlier saying, hey, there's got to be another way. And then she goes and gets on the pole where she was like slapped on at, and then she dives down into the water. As she was swimming downward, Moana goes and retrieves Maui's body from the ocean so he doesn't drown. As she goes down, the lightning struck at her, and when she was just there, as the lightning almost struck at her, she finally broke the curse. As soon as she touched it, the storm disappeared and the sun came out and it was nice and warm again. And apparently Moana must have drowned in the ocean, because Maui dives out into the water, and as soon as she grabbed Moana, the ocean created a space where he could actually revive Moana. And so it's not just Maui, but the ancestors appeared surrounding them, and then including Grandma, of course. And they sang, and her grandma, puts a hand on Moana, and she leans her head on her. That's what woke up Moana in the first place. And the ocean gives Moana her paddle back and gives Maui his hook back. And now both Maui and Moana has tattoos, which I theorize meaning that Moana actually turned into a demigod, which could question some fans. Okay. So, and then Maui lifts up the island with Moana on it, and then all of her crew celebrated, and they all reunited with each other, and then they go inside the dome part of Motufetu, and they looked at the wall where their ancestors was, and Moana found her home scratched onto that wall. As soon as they kept, while they were continuing on, a horn blew, and now their attention is brought to other people from other islands coming to reunite with Moana and them. And then Maui goes to Motunui, and he's like looking for Samia, Moana's sister. And they're like, she is like here somewhere. And then as Maui continue on, he's like, where's Samia? And then Samia appears from the sand because there was sand blowing up. And then she like grips onto Maui's ear, which I thought was stinking cute and adorable moment in the movie. And then he gifted her, oh yes, he gives her with a stone from Motufetu. And then he like goes and points at the sea, and there's Moana on her canoe with all the other tribe members coming to visit Motunui. And then Samia, seeing her sister, she got so excited and goes to run to Moana in the ocean part of the waves so they can run together and reunite. And Moana finally got to reunite with her family. And then Moana finally became chief. And as they sailed back out in the ocean again, they met up with the island of coconuts, and they all celebrated too. And the movie finally ends with Moana sailing away with her crew, including Maui. And the end. That's the end of the movie. Okay. Like, wow. Like, that movie will teach you so much about inspiration, because, you know, I feel like this movie was extremely wonderful. Okay? It's like one of the most beautiful visual movies that I've ever seen, even though it's a Disney movie. Okay, I saw the story and I felt the story at the same time. I felt to go from the adventure to determination to struggle and then to the final battle, kind of, which is very intense. Like, I felt the story go from very peaceful to like highly intense throughout the movie. I like the build up of intensity, which is very nice. My favorite song though in this movie was Beyond, also sang by Moana. Like, it's kind of funny how, you know, Beyond is like the song saying before you go on an adventure, just like How Far I Go, where Moana sings How Far I Go in the first movie before she goes out on her adventure to restore the heart to the Titi Island. Okay? Like, Beyond, it just moved me. Like, I actually liked Beyond better than How Far I Go because of how, like, harmonized the song actually is, despite it being like a mezzo soprano. Okay, like all of the glowing lighting effects of the ocean, the sea serpent, the storm, everything, it was very beautiful. I love it. My favorite singing voices is not just Moana, okay, but I liked Moana's mother and the Bat Lady Witch. Both of those voices were very, very angelic, and I love it. Like, please take my heart. Take my heart. Like, oh my god, those two women should say more. Like, very nice. Now, like, as I did my research, I saw why the ending was kind of questionable for people. You know, like, was Moana actually dead? Like, why did she turn into a demigod? Like, I saw it as Moana getting tattoos, and nothing more than that. Like, but I did not know that was Moana turning into her own demigod. And I see why, and it makes total sense. You know? And, like, I don't see any more questionable parts of the movie. If you want to comment down, let me know. And yes, there was some very funny moments in the movies, which I appreciate. You know, sometimes some Disney movies have to have a little sense of humor in it. And the fact that Hawaiian culture was depicted in this movie makes it even more better, since Moana is like a only Hawaiian princess, okay, that will ever be in Disney. Like, Moana is the best Hawaiian Disney princess, and no one would ever beat her. Like, she is brave, she's adventurous, and yes, clumsy sometimes too. And I accept the clumsiness of her friends as they challenge Moana's leadership, which makes Moana a better person and a better chief. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my new film critique. Please give it a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe for more art and entertainment content. I will let you guys go for now, and I will see you in the next video. See ya, bye!